Sunday, June 20th is your next chance to win $100 and an Anything Show with Jean-Francois shot glass and keychain. Just tell me what food you would eat every day if you could on our social media. Facebook.com/The Anything Show. On Instagram @Anything Show Francois. You can also look for us on YouTube @The Anything Show with Jean-Francois. And on Sunday, June 20th, you could be the one to win $100 and an Anything Show shot glass and keychain.
From the Big Heavy World Studios in Burlington, Vermont, this is The Anything Show with Jean-Francois. I hope you know what you're in for.
All right, what you just heard there was a lie. I am not in the Burlington, Vermont studios. Usually I'm there doing the show live on the radio on the weekend, but for the weekend of June 6th, I will be in Baltimore. So we are pre-recording this from the Magic 97.7 studios in Lyndonville, Vermont. At least that's where I am. Jean-Francois here, and joining me once again is Maciel Hernandez, wonderful actress and host of the Black Hole Sun podcast. She's joining me on the phone from New York City. Hello, Maciel.
Hi, you're already lying to your death.
Hey, this is not the first time. This is not the first time that I've had to pre-record in a location that's not as advertised on the whole voice thing in the beginning. So, hey, look. There's nothing sexier than a man who lies every now and then. You know what I'm saying, Maciel?
No, I don't.
Fine. I guess we shall move on with the show. No, but we do have a great show coming up. Later on, I will be speaking with Anthony Janot. He is the host and producer of the Highbrow Drivel podcast, which has been supporting the Anything Show for the past few weeks, including this week. So we'll talk to Anthony about his wonderful podcast. Later on, I'll ask listeners locally through my job here at Magic 97.7, what drives you crazy? We're going to hear some of those phone calls. Don't forget, ask anything. As you heard in the beginning, tell us what food you would eat every day if you could for a chance to win $100 and an Anything Show shot glass and keychain on Sunday, June 20th. We'll get through some of your responses. And I think, Maciel, we didn't even get to your response yet, right?
No, we haven't.
Oh, that's a crime. All right, so we'll do that later on. Hollywood gossip. Oh, Maciel, will The Rock and Matthew McConaughey run for president? Apparently that's a rumor going around.
Yeah.
And for headlines, we're going to ask in just a second, are you a good kisser? So in the meantime, listen to The Anything Show with Jean-Francois on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Like and follow on Facebook.com/The Anything Show and Instagram @Anything Show Francois. Search for The Anything Show with Jean-Francois on YouTube. Okay, Maciel, shall we start with our headlines? Yeah, we cannot hear the music because we're pre-recording, so we're just going to pretend we hear it. Okay, first up here, 37% of Americans admit they have barbecued drunk before. And why not? This is barbecue season. Why not put your life in danger in front of fire? People who drink around the grill are 4 times more likely to hurt themselves. All right, no duh. Maciel, I know you live in the city. Have you grilled? Do you grill down there?
Well, wait a minute. I'm so confused. So people barbecue sober? I thought you only... I'm sorry. I mean, when I go visit my friends in the suburb and they pull out the grill, we're already toasted. So I just assumed that was the thing.
Hey, I don't know, man. Look, I usually have, my dad or my uncle, or mom, aunt, whatever. I usually have those adult figures doing the grilling. I would guess that if you have like a shot of whiskey or tequila, that grilling is a lot more fun because otherwise you're just standing in front of a
the big pit of fire. Like who?
Yeah,
I need a drink to do this. Come on now.
Exactly, and then you have to wait 45 minutes on each side for each side of the meat to cook. Yeah, exactly. So you know what? Hey, as long as you don't burn the house down or burn your arm down, why not? Let's whiskey it up.
That's why we do it outside.
Yeah, inside, okay, then you're talking about some criminal activity. But outside, I think we're good. Hey, 2/3 of Americans, next headline here, say they are a good kisser, including 1 in 4 who think they're great at it, and only 3% of us think that we are terrible kissers. Now, Maciel, be honest, do you think you are a fantastic kisser?
Yes, because when I was younger, I used to practice with ice.
Wait. With ice, like the cold block of thing that you...
Yeah,
What?
it's like ice cubes. You never heard of that? Like, I think every it's mostly like preteen girl has tried to put a piece of ice in her hand, and they practice on a piece of ice. So,
and
I kissed a lot of boys in my day, so I think I'm pretty decent.
But aren't you causing frostbite on your lips when you kiss with ice like that?
Well, it starts. So you want it to be like a little melty. Like, you don't want it to be completely right out of the fridge, like sticking to your skin. So I used to do that when I was like 12, but now I'm an adult and I don't do that anymore.
Wow. All right. Well, there you go, Maciel.
I'm sure lots of your listeners used to do that when they were younger. So if anybody did that when they were like 11, 12, please put it in the comments somewhere.
Well, to be honest, I used to make out with like a tall lampstand in my room. So
okay.
Yeah. Hey, look.
TMI.
Yeah. And an ice cube is any different? Come on now. Come on. You're still making out. Either way, you're making out with an inanimate object. So whether it was like a tall lampstand, I think I made out with a wall when I was a kid just to practice. So it is what it is. And you know what? Lately, I haven't had any complaints from my girlfriend, but in the past, Maciel, when I've kissed, I've been told I was a little aggressive. So I think, I started out pretty horribly because I only had like the wall and the tall lampstand to work with. But as I tried it on human beings who could give me opinions, that's when I think I got pretty decent at it. So
I think the more you practice, the better you are. So one of those things.
Absolutely. Hey, speaking of kissing and relationships and partnering and such, this next headline: half of people in a relationship claim their current partner is the worst sex they've ever had. I almost want to say shame on these people because.
Wow.
I know, because like one, they're too cowardly to identify themselves, and two, hey, maybe you should take a good hard look at why the sex is so bad. It could be you. It could be
Well, I mean, for me, I feel like if there's something not going right, you have to like communicate with your partner. Like, this isn't working. We need to like something. Like, I've never been afraid of being like, okay, that was just bad. So we need to talk about this.
Oh,
I mean,
boy.
It's important to do that. I mean, when I was younger, it wasn't, but as you grow older, you kind of have to realize that if it's not making anybody happy, if it's just making one side happy, you got to be like, hey, look, this is a partnership.
Yeah. You know what? And props to you, Maciel, because when you say, "Oh, that was so bad," to like a fragile male ego, like that's I can only imagine what their response is. But you know what? Honesty is the best key, and that's really a usual way, a very effective way to have a healthy sex life is to say, "Hey, this is what I like, and this is what I don't like." And me and my girlfriend, fortunately, we've never gotten to that point where she's like, "Oh my God, that's awful, that's horrible." But whenever we've said like, no, that hurts or that doesn't feel right or whatever.
It doesn't have to be like a cruel, like, yes, there is like a gentle male ego thing going. It doesn't have to be soul crushing. You could just be like, you know what, I don't like that. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
We need to really talk about how it's just learning how to communicate with your partner. And you learn that as you get older. Like when you're younger, you're just like, okay, that was terrible. Like, what do I do?
Right. Yeah. So the people in this survey that say that their partner is terrible, before you out your partner in the worst way like that, let's sit down and talk to your partner. Figure out, okay, what's making our sex so bad, and that could go a long way.
Absolutely.
Oh God. Hey, Maciel, next headline: have you ever had a crush on someone at work? 54% of Americans say yes. Maciel, what say you?
Yes. Unfortunately, I've dated a few people.
Okay. So you got to tell me this. I'm curious. What's a really memorable work crush experience?
Oh gosh. Oh man. There's so many. Like, I think especially when I was younger, like working in a theater. I remember there used to be like. When I worked at a theater, there was an actor there who was I was like 17, and there was an actor there who was like a Ford male model, and I was just like, oh, just adored him, and then when I went to LA and I did catering, there was tons of people there that were famous, so there was a lot of crushes going on, but yeah, no, it happens. I think there's always like that work crush that keeps you going.
Yeah, and I wonder if it does it usually end well? Because to my mind, look, I obviously I'm human. I've liked people that I've worked with, but the main reason why I never pursued anything was because I always thought about the worst case scenario. Like, oh my God, what if it doesn't work out? I got to see this person at work the next day and the next day and the next day.
Yeah, that's the worst.
So for you, I mean, did those work?
No, it didn't turn out well.
Yeah.
The two times I've done that, it just was like, okay, never doing that again. This is bad. This is like, it's like, ugh. Yeah. I wouldn't suggest dating coworkers. It's one of those experiences that I was like, no, don't ever do that. That's pretty bad.
Oh boy, I wouldn't trust work crushes, which I guess is a weird transition into our next headline here. The average adult, they say, trusts just 7 people, Maciel. 40% say the pandemic has actually helped reveal who's trustworthy and who is not. More than 8 out of 10 people think they themselves are trustworthy, though. And the top signs you're trustworthy, things like being reliable, not being manipulative, having integrity, respecting boundaries, being a good listener, being considerate, being authentic, not canceling plans at the last minute. Maciel, in your life, would you say that 7 people, that's accurate, or are we talking way more, way less?
I feel like I'm trying to, as I'm listening to this, I feel like it could be 10 people.
Oh, okay.
10 people.
Do you mind listing them for me? I mean, you don't have to say their names, but who they are in your life.
Oh gosh, no, because if they hear this, they're gonna be like, well, like if someone hears this, they're gonna be like, well, how come I wasn't on your list of 10?
Oh.
So I'm gonna keep the list of people to myself, but
okay.
I have about 10. I have about 10 people that I trust, including like my sisters and like my good friends from back in the day. But I am not going to mention names because I know, like, my luck, someone will listen and be like, well, how come you didn't mention me? And then you're just like, oh, sorry about that.
Okay. All right. Understandable. I mean, I think my list is more than 10 or more than 7 people. I know that my family, my brother, sister, mother, aunt, uncle, cousins, my girlfriend, of course. And I have a few scattering of friends here in Vermont where I'm based, some in Connecticut, some in Iowa that I have a good amount of trust in. So
yeah, now that you're saying all that, I feel like now it's more than 10 too. Like, maybe it's more than 10.
I go between giving people the benefit of the doubt and being open-minded and trusting of their kindness, and also just like being sometimes anxious, like, oh, I don't know, is that person going to come through with you? So it depends on the day, Maciel. I think if it was Monday, I'd trust you, but if it was Tuesday, I'd hate your guts and I wouldn't trust you with my pet. Okay. I know it got personal for no reason. Maciel, have you ever taken board games really seriously? Because we have another headline here that details the physical fights that actually break out based on certain board games. So games that start the most fights are Monopoly, Uno, Sorry, Scrabble, Jenga. I mean, I remember I've been a sore loser. My brother certainly has been a sore loser and has cried like crazy over like Sorry and Monopoly when we were kids. Fights and tears, they are a real thing in my family when we were kids playing games. What about you?
I think Uno is one of the worst kind of breakup games ever. That reverse back to you, draw 4 is like, that right there, it divides countries. It starts wars. I've stopped being friends with people over. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh
but
my
it's
God!
Just like Uno is like the devil's game. Like it's just like it does things to people. People lose their mind when they lose, and then suddenly people have new rules. They don't want to lose. It's crazy. I think Uno, like if you have friends and you really love them, don't play Uno.
Basically, if you want to see your friends live and you want them to be happy, you want to be happy with them happy with you. Like don't play any games. Don't enjoy yourselves. Just have coffee and that's it.
Yes, exactly.
I love it. All right, next headline here. Almost half of Americans think it's possible that dinosaurs dinosaurs still exist in a remote corner of the world. 1 in 5 think there are still lots of them. There were still lots of them 100 years ago. I don't know. I mean, I tend to be on the side of wow. Dinosaurs, to me, I don't know. Ever since I've seen like movies like Jurassic Park or that Pixar dinosaur movie, Maciel, I keep thinking to myself, it cannot be possible that these larger than life figures that have been as tall as the sky, it cannot be possible that these figures actually existed. I mean, can you believe that?
No, it's crazy because I'm like, where would they be? They're on an island with Tupac and Selena. Like,
yeah.
I'm just curious. Like, where would they be? Because it's the atmosphere and the terrain is not possible for these animals if you studied anything about dinosaurs. So it's like, yeah, it's a different world. Like, where would we keep a dinosaur?
By the way, that sounds like a very sort of great marijuana-friendly experience, being on an island with a dinosaur, Tupac, and Selena. Where did you get that from? I love it. I love it.
Probably the last time I smoked weed.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking about because a lot of people say that Selena and Tupac are still alive and they're in hiding. A lot of people think Tupac is in Cuba for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay.
Yeah, and Selena's like in Europe somewhere, and I'm just like, why would she that's crazy. People are, like I don't believe that, but like these are the same people who believe in flat earthers, like they believe there's like it's just like a lot of just like, believe the science people. Like, really?
Okay. Well, lastly here, 93% of people under 30 years old use their phone on the toilet, which is not really a surprise. I mean, we're talking millennials here like myself. I have not reached 30 yet. I will be 30 this November. And look, I got to admit, Maciel, if it's like, if I'm waiting for an urgent call or a text or something like that, then I'm going to take my phone with me to the pooper. However, for the most part, I typically, set my phone on a wall near the bathroom mirror, so I can just like listen to podcasts while I'm brushing my teeth or taking a shower. Now, Maciel, I don't know if do you want to out your age or do you not want to out your age? I don't know.
Oh, I'll out my age. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm 43.
Oh, okay. All right. So as a 43-year-old, would you say you are using your phone on the toilet, despite the fact
Absolutely.
that... Okay, there you go.
Are you kidding me? It used to be magazines or newspaper, but now it's like I'm on the phone playing like Candy Crush or like texting somebody or writing a note. I get my best ideas in the bathroom, so I'm probably writing notes.
There you go. Wow. All right. And of course, the hands are being washed. The phone is clean. All right, Maciel. Nothing. Hey, look! Nothing like brown stains on your phone to turn things off. Okay, I'm just saying.
Gross, dude.
Isn't that a great way to end our headlines, though? Just poop stains on your phone. How romantic.
Oh man.
If you have a headline that you want to send me and Maciel, Facebook.com/AnythingShow or Instagram at AnythingShowFrancois. That's AnythingShow, FRANCOIS. Jean-Francois here from the Magic 97.7 studios in Lindenville, Vermont, and Maciel Hernandez, actress and host of the Black Hole Sun podcast, joining me on the phone from New York City. Okay, Maciel, we're doing things a little different because, like I said, I usually do the show live on the radio over the weekend, but I'm pre-recording it on Thursday, June 3rd, since I have plans for the following weekend. So instead of directly following this with Ask Anything, I guess we'll do some Hollywood gossip. You want to do some Hollywood gossip?
Of course. I love gossip.
Woohoo! All right, here we go. So, the big thing on Disney Plus right now, Maciel, are you familiar with the live-action Cruella movie starring Emma Stone? Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it, but I do have Disney Plus, so that's on my list of things to see.
Yeah, I heard on Elvis Duran and the Morning Show that it's basically a cross between Batman and The Devil Wears Prada, so that could be something. And you know what? The movie actually reveals the real reason why Cruella hates Dalmatians. It turns out that when Cruella was a little girl, she watched the woman who was acting as her guardian be attacked and pushed over a cliff by 3 Dalmatians owned by an evil Baroness. So yes, 3 dogs killing Cruella's mother is what turned Cruella into the person who's like, oh my God, look at those Dalmatian fur. I want to make like coats out of them and kill them and stuff. So I don't know. What do you make of that backstory?
Well, first of all, I don't know any vicious Dalmatians. All the Dalmatians I've met in my lifetime are just the sweetest type of dog. So I'm like, okay, that's an interesting story. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna have to watch it to get it.
Yeah, and I don't know, like the whole because they say like Cruella hates Dalmatians, but at the same time, if I remember from the animated Dalmatians movie that I watched as a kid, I mean, if you're saying like, oh my God, Dalmatians, I want to use them so I can make profit off of them, so I can make coats out of them, is that really hate, or is that just like a very thirsty desire for profit? I don't know, because I feel like hate.
Yeah.
I feel like hate is just like, oh, I want to kill those dogs and I just want to kill them and that's it. But if you're like, if you want to use their fur so badly to profit off of them, then I don't know how that connects to, oh, these dogs killed my mother, so yet I want to use their fur to make. I don't know. It's maybe I'm overthinking it.
No, I think that also is like, okay, that's strange.
So we'll have to see. Hey, are you familiar with the Godfather movies, Maciel? Have you seen any of them?
Of course.
Yay! So here's a surprising thing. So 81-year-old James Caan, who played Sonny in the Godfather movies, he recently tweeted his opinion about who should be on the Mount Rushmore of 2010's hip hop. Now, people thought that, oh, this is like a robot taking over James Caan's account, because why would James Caan, of all people, tweet about 2010's hip hop? And actually, he set him straight. He said, no, actually, I know my stuff. And I'm going to tell you that Drake, Future, Kendrick Lamar, and J. Cole should be on the Mount Rushmore. So,
oh, excuse me, Mr. James Caan.
I know. Now, Maciel, can you think of any examples of like people in your life, maybe older people, that like surprise you with their like young pop culture knowledge?
Oh gosh, no. No.
I know.
People. Anytime I see anybody who's older on any other social medias like TikTok, I'm like, oh, okay, we're doing that now.
It's insane. And you know what? Speaking of old people in show business, great transition. I got to give a shout out to Gavin MacLeod, who unfortunately we lost recently. Now, I don't know if you watched the Love Boat.
Yes, I'm actually old enough to remember, like as a kid, watching the Love Boat reruns.
Yeah. So Gavin MacLeod, who is known as Captain Merrill Stubbing from The Love Boat, from 77 to 87 is when that aired on television. He unfortunately died at the age of 90. Now, I actually remember him as Murray Slaughter on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, which is a show I used to watch like back in college. For some reason, I had like a thing about old sitcoms like Mary Tyler Moore Show, The Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just remember Gavin fondly. And I mean, did you like The Love Boat growing up and Gavin on it?
I did really love the Love Boat. I never really watched the Mary Tyler Moore Show. I had a manager once who was obsessed with the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Yeah.
But I really, Mary Tyler Moore is on it. That's all I know about it.
Yeah, her name's on the show. If I'm not mistaken, so his Mary Tyler Moore co-star, Gavin's Mary Tyler Moore co-star, Ed Asner, tweeted, of course, rest in peace, Gavin. He was a great buddy of mine. And now I think it's down to Ed Asner and Betty White as the only people that are still alive from the Mary Tyler Moore cast. Like pretty much.
Wow.
I know. Everybody from Mary Tyler Moore to Cloris Leachman to Valerie Harper.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Georgia Engel. Everybody's gone except Ed Asner and Betty White. So
I'm like now that you said it, like I didn't even know Ed Asner was still alive.
Look, no offense, I love Ed Asner. He's a great actor. Loved him as Lou Grant and Mary Tyler Moore, and he's done some great voice. He played the voice of the old guy in Pixar's Up. If you wanted to know.
Oh yes, that's where. There you go. I knew there was something that he did recently that I was all like, oh, I've heard that. Like, where have I heard of Ed Asner besides like the 80s and the 90s?
And trust me, if you see a real life picture of Ed Asner and you put that next to a picture of the animated old guy from Up, it could not be a more perfect fit. Like Ed Asner, and look, I love Ed Asner, but I'm surprised that he is the one that's like still alive because the guys looked like 95 for like the last 20, 30 years. So I don't know.
Basically.
But hey, you know what? Good genes, good health. God bless them. That's great. Maciel, were you a big fan of the show Friends?
Not really.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of had a feeling that you wouldn't be, but that's okay. So I saw the Friends reunion special. I used to see Friends reruns a lot back in high school, so I had to see what this Friends reunion special was like on HBO Max. And of course, there was a story that came out about how much the Friends cast made for the HBO Max reunion special. They made $2.5 million each.
So absurd. So absurd.
I know. And but hey, you know what? Friends is, I think it's been like 17 years since the show went off the air, and it's still very popular in streaming services and syndication. Look, it could be an insane amount of money, but it's deserving because basically from the moment that the cast left the stage in 2004. People have been saying, "Oh my God, Friends reunion! We got to happen. We have to happen." So the fact that it finally happened, the cast just took advantage and was just like, "All right, if we're gonna make this happen, pony up with that cash."
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's probably like it's crazy how popular. I remember when I was in college, and it was just like everybody watched Friends, and I watched a couple of episodes because I too had the Rachel haircut.
Oh.
But I wasn't like the biggest fan.
Yeah.
Like I just I watch it, but it wasn't like, oh, I have to watch Friends. But now I feel like a new generation has found the show, and it's so popular.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my God! I mean, so you take the $2.5 million that they made for the reunion special, you compare it to the $540,000 total that each of the casts made for the first season of the show.
Plus syndication, they're getting paid for syndication.
Do you know how much they're getting paid for syndication?
I'm not sure, but it's not like $5. It's a lot of money.
I'll tell you. They're making $20 million a year from syndication, just syndication alone. Yeah. So they're all set. They don't have to work anymore. Yeah, and that's insane to me. I mean, I knew that Jerry Seinfeld was making a boatload of cash from syndication for Seinfeld, but for Friends, wow. To me, I don't see Friends as much as I see Seinfeld in syndication. So I thought that maybe they're not getting paid that much, but yeah. $20 million a year. Why even bother lifting a finger? So yeah. All right. Well, hey, next Hollywood gossip piece here on the Anything Show. Kate Winslet. Kate Winslet says that for the latest film that she's in, Mayor of Easttown, she does not want the post-production editors to correct her flaws. She has a bulgy belly in the film, and she feels that it is an important part of her character. And she says, quote, "That's why people have connected with this character in the way that they have done, because there are clearly no filters," end quote. And you know what, Maciel? I think as a trade-off for all the naked Kate Winslet that we've received over the years in movies, I think this is fair. Like, if she wants to have a bulgy belly, let her have a bulgy belly.
I'm sure, I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's not like terrible. I'm sure it's like a little poopa. Like it's not like giant. I haven't seen it. I think it's a TV show. No, I thought it was a TV show on HBO Max.
It could be. It could be TV show, movie. I don't know. You know what? We're gonna.
Yeah, I think it's on HBO Max. But it's. I mean, whatever. But I'm just saying that, like, her being naked. I mean. It's probably not that, terrible.
Okay. All right. There you go. I like it. JoJo Siwa, an internet sensation, viral internet sensation, I should add. She is supposed to kiss a guy in a movie she's working on, but she does not want to, because I don't know if you know, Maciel, recently, JoJo Siwa. She came out. Yep. So she, quote, said, "I'm not about it. I'm trying to get it pulled so bad. It'll happen. It'll get pulled," end quote. Now, look, I mean, I feel mixed about this. On the one hand, I feel like, all right, do whatever you're comfortable doing. It's a free country. At the same time, I don't know. I mean, I think if she's thinking as the typical actor who wants to take as many, versatile roles as possible, saying something like, "Oh, no, I don't want to kiss any guy." I don't know, Maciel, as an actress, do you think that's, limiting for actresses, or what do you think?
Well, first of all, JoJo Siwa started her career on Dance Mom, and then she became this, preteen icon with her bows and her stickers and all her games and all sorts of, merchandise that she kind of peddles to preteen girls. So I don't know what's going on with this movie, but if she wants to break out of that stigma of being, this, goody-goody preteen kid, I think she should, and wants to be a serious actress, well, you got to kiss whoever. As long as it's not, something totally disgusting, I think that you got to respect the craft and do what you're supposed to do in a scene.
Yeah, absolutely. Dick Van Dyke, speaking of Mary Tyler Moore and all those old 60s, 70s sitcom stars, Dick Van Dyke, he is 95, and he says he's sticking to a workout routine. He's dancing, he's singing, and he says he's looking forward to turning 100 years old. And I'm looking forward to turning 100 years old with him, Maciel, because honestly, there's just something about living a century in this life that seems so fascinating. It seems like you have a lot of wisdom, a lot of stories to tell. Do you want to live till 100?
No.
Okay. Now, why is that? Because you'll probably give the reason that.
God, no.
Yeah.
God, no. You know, I'm a Gen Xer, so I'm miserable like every other Gen Xer.
Wow.
I've seen two President Bushes, so I think I'm good for the rest of my life.
All right.
I think, like, what's funny, because I was actually thinking about Dick Van Dyke the other day, because I was thinking about bad Cockney accents.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins. I'm just like, oof, that was an accent for the.
Yeah, that was.
I love him though, but that was just like, ooh, dude, that was bad.
I know. I'm right with
Mary Poppins.
Chum, yeah.
Why they don't let American actors play British people anymore, because of him. It's all his fault.
Hey, well, and the great thing about it is that Dick Van Dyke is the first one to make fun of it and knows that he did a terrible job. So even more reason to love him. I don't know if you keep up with the Kentucky Derby, Maciel, but the winner of the Kentucky Derby, Medina Spirit, took a drug test again and failed again. So now the trainer has been banned from Churchill Downs until 2023. Now, I say, ban the guy permanently because we should set an example.
He's giving drugs to a horse? Is this what's going on?
I don't know. Are you sarcastic or genuine? Because, this is the thing.
I'm genuine.
Yeah, no. I mean, my girlfriend Tony has informed me that, steroids, injections like that are normal with Kentucky Derby horses because the goal is like, hey, how can we make these race horses perfect without, them being tired, without them being, human, essentially. So.
Oh, that's so sad.
It is sad.
Aw.
I know. It's awful. And lastly, speaking of awful, Clay Aiken from American Idol, as a guy who is a celebrity who was in politics, he says he isn't sure that The Rock and Matthew McConaughey will want to get into politics after all. Quote, he said, I hesitate to believe that either of them is going to be willing to forgo the universal love and acclaim that they have from folks to run for office. I don't know, Maciel. I just want to simply say, hey, can we get back to like candidates that actually have government experience?
Oh my gosh. Can we? I'm so tired of like celebrities running for office. Like, I just think, let's get people who actually, I don't know how to do their job. That'd be great. That'd be great.
That'd be awesome. And that is our Hollywood gossip on The Anything Show. So if you have a headline or a Hollywood gossip piece that you would like to send me and Maciel, Facebook.com/The Anything Show. You can also contact us on Instagram at Anything Show Francois. That's at Anything Show FRANCOIS. John Francois here in Lyndonville, Vermont, along with Maciel Hernandez calling in from New York City. Remember, we have your chance to win $100 and an Anything Show shot glass and keychain. Let's get back into a round of Ask Anything. Shall we, Maciel?
Yay!
Yay! Okie dokie. So the question that I'm asking you on Facebook and Instagram, what is a food you would eat every day if you could? Now, before we get to our responses, Maciel, what is a food you would eat every day if you could?
Pizza.
Yay! Now, I mean, should I say why? Because really it's pizza. It's American.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that for me, it depends on the location I'm living at. Like obviously I'm in New York, so pizza's great here. But if I lived in Los Angeles, I would say tacos.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, you know what? New York is the pizza mecca of the world, so that kind of makes sense. Melissa also agrees with you. She says pizza. We have Brendo, who says crab legs, and Andre, who says eggs Benedict. So, again, hey, he's a listener, so let's be nice.
I love eggs Benedict.
All right. Hey, personally, I prefer scrambled, but you know what?
Me too.
To each their own. So, Facebook.com/The Anything Show, Instagram at Anything Show Francois, or you can respond to the videos that I've been posting up on YouTube for The Anything Show with John Francois. Let me know for Ask Anything, what is your food that you would eat every day if you could? And you could win $100 and an Anything Show shot glass and keychain on Sunday, June 20th. So good luck. All right, Maciel, in just a moment, I'll be asking listeners what drives them crazy. But before I let you go here, I got to acknowledge a sponsor of ours. The support for The Anything Show with John Francois is real. It comes from the Shadowed Stars. They're one of our sponsors this week. Shadowed Stars is an epic science fiction book series with a mature flavor. It is by Stephen Kautz. It is written in a dark form to give the reader the feeling of being in unexplored space. Now, Maciel, I will have some science fiction music in the background as I read this. Shall I give you a taste of what Shadowed Stars is like?
Yeah, sweater.
All right, here we go. In the year 2089, Earth had experienced a rapid shift in political and technological developments. Reported sightings of UFOs and alleged human abductions had reached such an alarming rate that governments decided to remove national boundaries and unite as one planet under one leader. The new government, the United Nations of Earth, made space exploration and defense of the planet its top priority. Journeyer was one of the first ships sent into space to find new discoveries and, above all, the search for sentient and intelligent life and to open peaceful negotiations. Prior to its recall and decommission, Journeyer was captured by an alien race of the highest intellect and an ally of a carnivorous alien race with ever-expanding territory. The Journeyer's captain, Drew Cage, was forcibly taken for a reason. What reason would that be? Oh, that's something that you'll just have to find out when you read Shadowed Stars. So Shadowed Stars, a science fiction book series. Please check it out. They're available on paperback and ebook and can be ordered through any bookstore or online at Amazon. You can search under books or by author Stephen Kautz, Barnes & Noble, Google Play, iTunes, ShadowedStarsBook.com. That is SHADOWED, Stars, STARS, Books, BOOKS. BOOKS, .com, ShadowedStarsBooks.com. And they'll also have direct links to these online sites on that website. They have 8 books planned with more unnumbered ones to follow. There are glossary entries and short stories for you to read and posted around the 20th of each month at ShadowedStarsBook.com. And you can find Stephen Kautz on Instagram and Twitter through Stephen Kautz and Shadowed Stars BK, as well as Facebook.com/Shadowed Stars Books. Love it. I love it. Shadowed Stars, science fiction phenomenon. Thank you so much for supporting the Anything Show this week. Coming up, we're going to have some conversations with Magic 97.7 listeners, which is where I work, right here in Lyndonville, Vermont. I asked them over the past year what drives them crazy, which is very relevant given that we've been going through a pandemic. I don't know if you've heard. So we'll get to that. And later on, we'll have our conversation with Anthony Janot from the Highbrow Drivel podcast, who's also a supporter of the Anything Show with Jean-Francois. Until next time, Maciel, you take care of yourself, okay?
Thanks. Have a good one, guys.
Yay! So in addition to hosting and producing The Anything Show, I am an on-air personality for Magic 97.7 in Lyndonville, Vermont. Now, last year, I had wonderful conversations with listeners about what drives them crazy. Makes sense, because 2020 was a pretty insane year. And I thought, you know what? We're still trying to find ourselves out of this pandemic, so why not bring back those conversations to you right now, right here on The Anything Show? So what drives you crazy?
A messy vehicle.
A messy vehicle? Oh, wow. So yeah. I will not have my vehicle anywhere near you, Jaden. Now, what's the messiest vehicle you've seen?
I was actually the recall manager for St. J. Subaru for a year, so I saw some cars that would give you nightmares.
Oh, my God. Tell me. Give me like a nightmare story.
There was one car that literally had 15 packs of cigarettes in it, and then there was like bottles of booze all through it, and there was like an inch layer of dirt. And we ended up figuring out the carpets were not the carpets that we thought they were.
Wow. All right. And this person is from Vermont, I take it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. It was terrible. I've seen some bad cars.
Yeah. Is that person still alive? Because, I mean, I hear 15 packs of cigarettes and booze, and I wonder, oh, my God, did that person have, like, mental issues, or what was going on there?
We had like the trash cans, like the big, like, you know, like the utility trash cans that you can like carry around. We filled 2 of them just with all the trash that was in that car. And It was a brand new car. It was a 2019, and this was not even a year ago.
Huh. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that person had a fun night, and it just ended up being a night of cigarettes and booze. I don't know. I mean, that's insane. Oh, wow. And I'm assuming with the cigarettes and booze in there, the car smelled pretty funny.
Oh, my. It was disgusting. Oh. Well, after working in the detailing business for so long, I've gotten used to the smell.
Yeah. But if you could have a different smell, you would.
Oh, my gosh, 1,000%. I shampooed those seats like 40 times.
Oh, God. Well, all right. Where's that person now? Does he have another car?
Yeah, they put him in a brand new car, and I wouldn't be surprised if he came back in a month with a dirty car again.
Goldfish with peanut butter.
Oh, really? Like the kind of goldfish that you eat? You don't like it with peanut butter. Why not?
I don't know. It's just, I think it's better by themselves.
Yeah. Who have you seen eat goldfish with peanut butter? I've never heard of that before.
So at my school, there's this thing called Yak, and one of the girls on it, or pretty much all of them, really like it. And I'm like, ew.
Ew. Wow. Yeah, I've never heard of that. I mean, heck, I don't even like goldfish that much by itself, but with peanut butter, that's something else. Okay. Now, what does it taste like when you combine goldfish and peanut butter?
I don't really know. I've actually not eaten it that many times.
Oh, okay. But the few times you've eaten it, you just don't really want to bother with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe goldfish with grape jelly. How about that one?
Oh, I've never tried that.
I've never tried it either, but it sounds a lot more delicious than goldfish with peanut butter.
The word moist.
Oh, that's classic. Yeah, you're not the only one. The word moist. M-O-I-S-T. Now, why does the word moist turn you off, Alexis?
I don't know, just the way it is. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first
word.
the verb. I'm sorry. What?
The word.
The word. Yeah. Something about it just reminds me of like a really like damp towelette that's been sitting around for 10 days and it stinks.
Yeah.
I mean, have you always been turned off by that word, or did somebody just kind of turn it off for you at a certain point?
It's just an always. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either, but we'll just leave it at that. I mean, I think some people call it their dessert moist, yeah, right. And it doesn't make you want to eat dessert anymore. It just makes you want to throw it up. Ugh.
When people drag their feet.
Oh yeah, God.
Crazy.
Yeah. Now, in what way? Like barefoot with shoes?
Yeah, like when they drag their heels, and it sounds like people are like shuffling instead of like walking like a.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's I don't know. Like, what do you think that says about someone when they drag their feet like that?
It sounds lazy.
Yeah, they have no motivation in life. They have no purpose.
Right.
God, maybe they're just, I don't know, unemployed or something, and they're just like,
right. So stereotypical.
Yeah, I'm unemployed, so let me just drag my feet.
Just mope around.
Spray painting a brand new truck because my husband did it the other day, and I just about flipped out.
Wait, say that one more time.
Spray painting his brand new truck.
Oh, okay. So
there was a missing, little tiny, because the truck's white, and there was, a little rust spot.
Yeah.
And he literally took a can of spray paint and spray painted it, and it's an expensive truck, so I was, all mad about it.
What did he spray paint?
He spray painted, the little rust spot. But he used white spray paint, but it's, a $15,000 truck.
Oh, I see. So, he didn't spray paint any words on it? It was just, just basic paint?
Yes, but it looked horrible. It wasn't the, same tone of white, so you can, actually tell when you walk up to it. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got to watch out for, white trucks. If you try to do anything weird with them, spray paint them, it's going to look very notable.
Exactly. And that's what I tried to tell him. It's a $15,000 truck. Why the hell would you use spray paint?
Well, hey, I mean, he didn't want anybody to see the rust, so there you go. So I guess this is the equivalent of trying to use whiteout on, I don't know, on ink, and it just doesn't really look good?
Exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry. So what? I mean, do you want to take the truck back and redo everything all over again?
No. Okay. He already spray painted it, so it is what it is.
When people grind their teeth.
Oh, God, that's disgusting. Yeah, I agree. Oh, my God. Now, anybody in your circle, family, friends, whoever, who likes to grind their teeth?
Some of my brothers.
God. And do they do it for a specific purpose, or they just do it for fun?
To aggravate me.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they know that they are murdering their teeth by doing that?
Yep.
They do.
It's worth it to aggravate their sister, though, I guess.
Wow. So they would risk losing their teeth with all that grinding just so their sister has a horrible life.
Yep.
Man, I kind of want to take you out and show you a real family, Angela. That sounds frightening.
I would be up for that.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, let me sign the paperwork. We'll see what happens.
Probably people with a bad attitude.
Oh yeah, God. Now, what's an incident that you can think of that someone gave you a bad attitude? What do people give you a bad attitude about?
Oh, when you're driving along the road and somebody rides your bumper and then they pass you and they flip you off because you're doing the speed limit and they don't want to do the speed limit. Yeah.
Or when you're waiting patiently to make a turn so you don't get into an accident, but the person behind you is just come on, move it along, buddy, move it along.
Yeah, they sit there and they blow their horn at you.
Yeah. Why do people turn into complete a-holes on the road? I don't get it. I mean, I don't know.
That's because they think they're the only ones out there and they're so important.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, it's funny because if, you met the same person at a birthday party, they'll be fine. But, all of a sudden put them behind the wheel and they're the devil.
Oh, turning off lights.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, turning off lights. You know, like people go around the house, like you have guests, and they just leave the lights on, you know, around the house, and, you know, I go around turning them off.
Yeah, you know, and it's great to have company over, but, you know, it's easy for them to just be careless about it because they're not paying your bills. You're paying your bills. So, so what do you do? I mean, do you kindly remind them to keep the lights off?
Well, I try to be diplomatic. If it's kids, you know, I tell them, you know, don't you care about the polar bears?
And do they? I don't know. Do kids care about that?
I don't know what that's got to do with it, but...
I don't know. I mean, the first thing that came to mind was Coca-Cola, you know, those commercials with the polar bears.
Oh,
and,
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the polar bears have to survive so they can keep doing commercials for Coca-Cola.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, my God.
I love polar bears.
God forbid, who's going to speak for that great soda?
That's right. Which I don't drink, but anyway.
That's okay. Hey, someone's got to drink it, Barbara.
Yeah. Oh, it's very popular.
Probably not kicking your shoes off when you come inside.
Oh, you can't stand people who walk in the house with their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. I'm never going to be welcome into your house, Bethany. That's my crime. Hence why you see a lot of dirt and snow in my bedroom.
Oh, no. See, that's the worst part. Like, it's okay if it comes into the kitchen, but not in the bedroom. Definitely not in the bedroom.
Yeah. So, you know, anytime I go over my girlfriend's house, the roommate that she lives with, she basically verbally assassinates me anytime I walk around with my shoes in the house.
Not a lot of people like their bed being made, but I like mine being made.
Hey, okay, yeah.
It's just gotta happen.
It just has to happen. Now, say what happens when you leave the house and you realize you forget to make your bed. What happens to you?
Well, I got to come back and go home.
Really?
Yeah.
You're saying that if you're like already at work, maybe you're like a few minutes late and you just found out you didn't make your bed, you're really gonna like interrupt your work day to go back and make your bed?
Not at that point, no. I have to make money before I can make bed.
You have to make money. You have to make money so that you can live in a house where you can make your bed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you feel? What do you feel when the bed's not made? What's that feeling inside?
It just makes me a little uncomfortable. I'm like, this could look a lot better. I could make it more presentable.
We'll have more of What Drives You Crazy coming up next week right here on The Anything Show. Before we wrap up, one last thing. Support for The Anything Show with Jean-Francois comes from the Highbrow Drivel podcast. I got a chance to speak with host and producer Anthony Janot. So we'll start off with a wonderful highlight from his podcast, and then we'll get to chatting.
In the U.S., what they do, in addition to telling you, hey, here's our privacy policy, and our privacy policy is we're going to take all of your data and do whatever we want with it. So it's more of a data use policy. But on top of that, in the U.S., they also then take away your ability to ask a court about this, to an arbitration provision. So you can't even get access to bring your story, to have your day in court about it.
And I do love that like the provision to exclude taking that information to court, because often one of the like universe brain excuses for not caring about the growth of surveillance technology is that if you've got nothing to hide, then you've got nothing to worry about, right? Which is obviously bullshit. But on top of that, well, the same goes for the tech companies, right? If you've got nothing to hide, why the fuck do you have a clause that says, oh, by the way, don't ever show this to a court?
Yeah, well, you know, at a conference one time, somebody said this nothing to hide crap, and I said, you know what, I just don't take that argument seriously from anyone wearing clothes, right?
Hey everybody, Jean-Francois here on The Anything Show. I am here with Anthony Janot. He is the host and producer of the Highbrow Drivel podcast. You know, they are sponsoring The Anything Show this week, as they have been for the past few weeks. Anthony joins me from London, right over there in the UK. Hey Anthony, how you doing?
Hey mate, how are you? I'm doing well. I'm excited to have a chat.
Yeah. So I listened to the most recent episode of your podcast and I loved it. And I just wanted to know, like, what's your story, man? Tell me about yourself and what led you to doing this podcast.
So essentially, I've been a stand-up comedian for like 8 years, and usually what happened was there was a period of time where all the comics went out, started a podcast, the good ones got real popular, and then everybody had a podcast, and I was like, well, I don't want to be just another prick with a podcast who thinks they're a comedian, you know?
Yeah.
And so I wasn't too interested in it. And then obviously, as we're all aware, last year getting people into a room of people, getting a room full of people to tell jokes was illegal because, you know, of everything. And it's kind of hard to be a comedian if that's not possible. There were Zoom gigs and stuff like that, but it's just not the same. And so, yeah, I wanted to do something that kind of wasn't a source for creativity, where I could be funny, but also I didn't just want to be one of those people who was like just me and my mate shooting shit every week, because I think there's a lot of people who do that really well. And I wasn't brave enough to take on the challenge of being another one of them. So instead, I was like, well, you know, we've got all this time on our hands. You know, at the start of lockdown 1, everyone was talking about, you know, oh, this is a great chance to learn new skills. You can learn something new. And I was like, well, why not combine those two? And so I invite a bunch of academics onto the show every week, and I get one of my comedy friends to help me keep it funny, because if it was just me and a really cool academic, I think I'd risk nerding out too much. So I bring a comedy buddy in to help me stay on track and keep things entertaining, and that's what we do.
Awesome. Can you give us an example of someone you've had on who has like a amazing field of expertise?
Yeah, man. Like I've been genuinely surprised by how many people have said yes, and I think it is largely because nobody else has shit to do either. But we had on a astrophysicist for NASA whose whole job is trying to figure out black holes and what's going on there. So okay. That was pretty cool. The first person to ever explain, because, you know, people talk about the universe expanding. I've never really understood that, and it was the first way somebody was able to explain it to me, and I go, oh, okay, I can get down with that. I get what you're talking about. We've had a paleontologist come on and tell us all about like all of the dumb dinosaur facts that, because I don't know about you, I'm 34, so I loved dinosaurs around the time Jurassic Park came out and then never thought of them again. So this paleontologist jumped on and was like, oh yeah, here's all the things that Jurassic Park lied to you about, which was an interesting app.
Right.
Hot tip, velociraptors, they were the size of a chicken. If your favorite dinosaur was a velociraptor after seeing Jurassic Park, you were lied to. You had a little turkey-ass chicken as your favorite dinosaur that you could have punted.
That's awesome. I like that. You know, and what I have to admire about your podcast is the fact that you are able to balance, you know, exposing these smart experts while also, like you said, keeping the comedy going. Because if I had someone on and I was learning about their field of expertise, I'd spend like a whole hour or two just being confused, you know, like what? Like I wouldn't have any awareness of oh, there's an audience listening and we have to, you know, keep things entertaining. So I guess I'm wondering, how do you do that? How are you able to balance, like, you know, getting all this new information at once while also keeping the podcast as entertaining as possible?
I think that's a great question, and one that I've had to learn on the job, right? Like, I think in the first couple episodes, I was guilty of either doing what you said, just being like, but what does that mean? And just thinking that was the goddamn joke. Or alternatively, because what I realized quite early on is that, unfortunately, not natural to me, but necessary, was a lot of research. And so then I think I was guilty of doing too much research, and then the whole what I wanted, which was that anybody could listen to it, not know about the topic, and learn about it in a fun way, went away for a moment. But now I'm back, and I think the thing to balance it is that you do the research so you know where the interesting bits of information is, but then you ask that dumb question in a fun way because you know the answer, right? So, you know, recently I had somebody who did this whole study about a guy who was trying to do head transplants, right? And I know that she's got this really good story about how the guy who was trying to do head transplants invited all these scientists in to a room that had a dead dog while he ate a sandwich and was just like, hey, is that dog dead? You know? And so I know all this.
Yeah.
I want her to tell that story so then I can have funny reactions backed up. So I ask like, oh, what's the weirdest thing that he did? Really steer her into that. And then I know what she's going to say. And then that's where I can be funny off the back of that. Yeah.
I like that because, that gives a structure to your show where okay, this is where we get the valuable information. This is where we get the comedy. So I like that. And, I think you and I have that thing in common where we like that sense of, organization, to get to the goal, which is to entertain and inform our audience. I don't know. I mean, is there such a thing as a topic that's too big or too small for your podcast? Anything that is just like, I don't know if we could do this.
Nah, do you know what? For me, the rule is if I'm interested in it, I reckon I can make it interesting to somebody else. So I don't think there's too big or too small. I actually, there's episodes coming up that I'm trying to organize that are, I'm almost shooting in both directions. Because I reckon if I get really, somebody who's a real deep nerd about something that people don't think about, there's a bunch of interesting stuff about that. I had a guy whose whole thing was he studies manners. And then once you start to unpick them, it's like, oh my God, this shit is so stupid. That is interesting, deep diving to stuff that you don't think about. And then equally, the big picture questions are always going to be interesting. So I'm petrified of death. So I want to speak to a thanatologist, the people who their whole academic field is studying the cultural phenomenon of death and how we deal with it. And I think, again, it's such a big topic. How can it not be interesting? And I think they're where you're going to get people really excited and really sharing things, right? Because when you deep dive into small things, you're showing things people things that they've never thought of, and that's cool. That's interesting. I want to share that with my friends. And when you're dealing with the big topics, well, human beings are pretty simple at the end of the day. If it's about fucking eating or dying, you're going to have some kind of interest.
Right. What's the favorite episode of yours?
For me, I think there's a couple that I really love. One was with the first time I spoke to a astrophysicist, not the NASA one, because I went into that episode thinking space is something that I get that people think is cool, but personally, got enough to worry about here on Earth, so, take it or leave it. And she explained things about space in a way that made me go, oh, wow, isn't it mystical and magical that all of that is out there and kind of we are, as a sense of context, quite small. Also, she spoke at length about the fact that at some point, depending on which way our science goes, the expectation is that the universe will pull itself apart to such a degree that light cannot exist. And if light cannot exist, nothing can exist. And that's not something I knew I was going to have to think about. So that was pretty cool. And then, even the most recent one last week about the head transplant guy, it's just such an interesting story that I never would have thought of or never would have encountered. But then it asks a lot of questions about, when we do science, who's making these decisions and when should our science stop and go, hey, just because I can transplant a head from one monkey to another, does that mean I should,
I love it. Well, Anthony Janot, host and producer of the Highbrow Drivel podcast, asking all the big questions from various experts while also entertaining you at the same time. How can we find Highbrow Drivel?
So all good podcast players, whatever you're listening to this on, probably there, or www.highbrowdrivel.com. That's spelled, highbrow is one word and drivel also one word, DRIVEL.com. And if anyone wants to hear a particular ep, there's a get in touch box on the website. I love hearing people being like, hey, have you thought about talking to somebody like this? I'm trying to find an insects expert at the moment because somebody jumped on the website and was like, I don't know enough about insects. Can you talk to someone about that? So, if you've got a weird thing you want to learn more about, hit me up.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. Yeah, let me know how the insect thing goes. I think that might be worth diving into. All right, Anthony, thank you so much for being on the Anything Show and, of course, for supporting the show as well. I appreciate your time, and hopefully the weather in the UK is going to be okay.
Cheers, John. Take care. Good talking.
Listen to The Anything Show with John Francois on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts. How does John know how to set up podcasts? Is he that? No, he can't be that smart. Follow on Facebook at The Anything Show and on Instagram at Anything Show Francois. Did you get all that?